Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. This is your Sunday Night Cop. I am Gav. That is Emmet. That is Kev. Keith's not around, so Kev's jumped in. Keith is off. He's drinking. All right. For anyone fucking asks, he's off drinking, and fair play to him. His excuse this week was absolutely bulletproof. In fairness to him, Liverpool have been beaten away at Bournemouth 3-2 at the Vitality Stadium. I think is the one that's that called, and I can't remember. Dean Court it used to be called, but it's now the Vitality Stadium. If you haven't seen our post-match shows, there was one on YouTube yesterday and there was one on Patreon yesterday, so if you're members of both, you've probably seen both. If you haven't, go and watch them, and if you haven't joined Patreon, you should. There's loads of people joining them. We're having a lovely time as well. It's like rinse and repeat. Emmet says it every week. Just fucking play last week's show. Replace the name last week with the one this week, and that's how it's gonna be. But I want to get into a few bits, because there's a few bits coming out tonight with regards to Andy Robertson, and it looks Paul Joyce's reporter Andy Robertson will now stay at Liverpool. So that's weird. And weird in the sense that it seemed to be flying along the other day. There's also rumours out tonight coming out from different areas. I don't know how reliable they are. People are reporting that Arne Slot has lost his job at Liverpool. But we'll get into that as well. Who did I come to first last week, Emma?
It doesn't matter at this.
I can see you nodding your head going, fucking ask Kev, you prick. Right, okay, we'll ask Kev. Kev, look, it's a defeat, and you know, this one, you know, we were 12 games unbeaten or whatever it was, and people were saying, you know, 12 games unbeaten, and a lot of people are saying, well, it's fucking terrible. It's 12 games unbeaten, but it's terrible. We go down 3-2 there yesterday in a game that I think we should have won if we'd have approached it right. But it's a defeat, Kev. It's a hard one to take. It's a last minute defeat. But again, did you come out of that game feeling hard done by, or did you come out of that game going, we lost, and to be fair, on the balance, we probably should have?
Yeah, no, we can't complain about the loss. I think if it finished a draw, you'd have been, yeah, okay. Bournemouth probably, Evan Nilsson had a really good chance in the 84th minute to get back ahead. But it was funny enough, earlier on tonight, I watched the highlights on Sky on YouTube just to refresh it in my head. And you see the goals, you see what happened in the first half. The very next highlight was Dominic Szoboszlai's free kick. We were 2-1 down. And we dominated the ball, but we never troubled our keeper. Not really. No, nothing meaningful. Couldn't construct an attack to save our lives, and we were defended by the seat of our pants. And all they had to do was construct one good counter, and they were in. And they constructed a couple. Evan Nilsson really should have made it 3-2 with about 5-10 minutes to go. So the fact that they got their winner at the end is galling, because it was after the 4 minutes of injury time had passed, but it doesn't excuse the results. You know, I don't think anyone hand on heart is coming out saying, yeah, we were hard done by. It was just sloppy, poor, bang average, typical Liverpool over the last 4 months. Figuring out new ways to throw away wins and throw away points, and we're making an art form of it now. We're fucking hard to watch it on a good day. I watched the Marseille game and thought, yeah, do you know what? In Europe, we're looking fine. But I'm telling you, European football, Champions League football, and the Premier League is a step up. In the qualifying rounds of the Champions League, the Premier League is a step up. Bournemouth would have beaten Marseille. Bournemouth are a better side than Marseille. And we only made the one change. Players weren't exactly fucking sucking on oxygen with 10 minutes ago. They had plenty of energy. It's just Bournemouth are better at what they are trying to do, because Areola has them drilled into a way of playing. And, you know, they've been in games recently without getting points. But yesterday, they were good value for it, and they were missing more players than us. That tells you so much about where the club is, and the fact that you're hearing reports tonight about Arne Slot getting sacked, sticking plaster stuff. It's a sticking plaster. It's a problem. He's a problem, and he deserves a sack for the current run of form that we're on. But he's far from the biggest problem with that fucking club at the minute.
Emma, when I go to talk to you, I just keep thinking this is fucking Groundhog Day at this stage, because I'm like, I'm going to have to ask this prick the same question again. But in all seriousness, right, I've spent not a lot of this week, some of this week when I've had a break and I'm looking through the YouTube comments and people have been chatting away to me and we've been having good discussions and good conversations and stuff like that. The people who were talking to me, the name, I think Stephen might be one of them. Stephen Kemp, I think was the person's name. But we were having conversations about, you know, what justifies sacking a manager, or what do you want to see, or is there anything you can see there that's telling you that no, don't sack him, stick with him, and you know, things like that. And you know, if it wasn't Stephen, I apologise, but I'm going to say it was. And he said to me, "Are you not being a bit contradictory about this season? Because you," and when he's speaking to me, he said to me, "You said you'd write off this season because of what happened with Jota and everything else." And my answer was, "Yeah, I would." You know, I genuinely would, because when you factor in, you know, it's hard when you win a league. It's hard to go and win another one. Full stop, right? But when you win a league and you feel like you need to progress the squad in certain areas and different things, you have to sign 4 or 5 or 6 players, wherever it might be. That's also difficult. So when you factor that in along with Jota, I think, you know, you kind of go, look, you don't know what way this is going to go mentally for the vast majority of these players. There's new players coming in. It's a new system. And I'd happily watch Liverpool this season and went, I can see the path they're on. I can see what they're trying to do. I can see what they're trying to achieve from, you know, half to half, or game to game, or week to week, or month to month, or competition to competition. And I genuinely would have. I would have sat here and said, lads, don't worry about it. It's grand. You know, and you know me. I will turn around and go, it's fine. We'll be all right. But I'm watching this, Emma, and I can't work out for the life of me what the path is here, what the end game is here, what we're trying to get at, what we're trying to do. And I looked at that yesterday and I just thought, it's everything I've been thinking about Liverpool. I'm watching the lineup, I'm watching the way we play, I'm watching the way we press on, the way we are on the ball, the way we are off the ball, the way when we attack, what way we are. We're unsure of what we're doing. When we're defending, we're static. Midfield, we're being ran through. I'd be more than happy to go to turn around and go, lads, we lost that, but I can see what we're trying to do. And you know what? If we play that again tomorrow, we'll probably win the game because we'll improve that little extra percent. But that's not where it is, Emma. It's watching these games and you're just waiting for Liverpool to fail. You're waiting because you know they're going to do it. You know they're going to fucking, you know, they're not even making chances, to be fair, but they're going to pick the wrong ball. They're going to make the wrong choices. They're going to switch off. They're going to, when it comes to simple things, they're not going to deal with things. You know, I'm hearing managers and captains coming out about fucking, you know, the wind and all. You know, like, am I wrong? Am I wrong to say it's okay to write off a season, but there's certain stipulations within that?
No, you're not. You're not wrong. Look, if anybody else, regulars in this chat or regulars in Telegram, we've been saying it since the summer that whatever happens, right? And it's within us to get pissed off at the team and stuff like that. And you mentioned the likes of Jota, but then you've also got the lots of different players coming in. We actually spoke at the start of the summer saying that it looks like we're going to be bringing in a lot of players, and there was yourself and Shawnee were worried that it was too much, and it probably turns out that it maybe was too much to try and integrate into the team. But you're right, you can write off a season when, and I think before we came on, you likened it to Klopp. There was times that we lost under Klopp, but you could see what he was trying to do.
So I said
you
it
don't
last week.
See what this fella is
trying
to do.
I actually went back and watched a lot of highlights during the week, just watching the first, you know, the way you can kind of pick. LFChistory.net is brilliant because you can go in and see all the fixtures, and I was kind of just picking them out and then throwing them into YouTube and looking at the highlights, and I was picking out wins, and then I was actually picking out losses and watching them, and I was saying to myself, yeah, but we could, at that time we could see, you know, he's trying to do this. This is where we're going to get to, and we've lost, and we shrug it off, and we go again, and we knew it was building. This just feels like it's fallen apart at the seams, and there's no plan to it. There's none.
Like this weekend was the 10th anniversary of that Norwich game, and I think we went 2 goals down, possibly 3 goals down against them. The one where we win 5-4.
Who?
And Liverpool against Norwich.
We're 1-0 up, then we're 3-1 down. Then we're 4-3.
So we were down by 2 goals. Sorry, I didn't realise I was talking to Wikipedia. And
the scores if you want.
fuck's sake. But like that's an example of it. Like it was like, Jesus, what's this? And then you come back and you win. But this was before he brings in Van Dijk. So we were absolutely electric going forward, and we were shite at the back. We're neither electric going forward, and we're neither good at the back. We're shy. If anything, our midfield is probably the strongest. But even yesterday, I think we probably had a bit of an off day. But there's no. I think what he's done is he's not even playing to these poor El Gakpo, right? And I've given Gakpo dog's abuse, and we've spoken about this. We moved the ball way too slow. Gakpo's one trick pony, and it worked for Arjen Robben. Somebody said yesterday on one of the shows, I wondered, I think it might have been Matt, did he just grow up watching Arjen Robben videos? Probably did. But when you've got 2 or 3 defenders there, there's lots of space for your little cutting in and you're having your shots. When you've got 5 or 6 defenders in the box, and he still does it anyway, for the life of me, I don't know why, he's taking shots, and there's lads blocking. They know exactly what he's going to do. But when we're moving faster and they don't have time to get back around, there's more space for him to do that and score. And he scored, and like it's a typical Gakpo goal. We've seen it over the last 2-3 years. But we're doing things too slow now, so his trick doesn't work anymore. Even Salah, when he gets on the ball yesterday, we've seen him come across the edge of the box and try and whip him into the top corner. But he's got 4 or 5 defenders between him now every time he gets the ball. And that's not because it's like, oh, we better defend Salah, because he's not pulling up trees at the moment. It's because we've moved it so slow and taken so long to get the ball to them that completely nullifies what they're going to be able to do. Now, yesterday was a whole new pile of shite. The win thing, like I said last week, that for me, when Slot starts talking shit, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I would have said it in private, and I would have said it on this show several times last year, I could listen to Slot all day when he's talking about football. I absolutely love listening to him. Couldn't tell you the last time I listened to a press conference. I only get the little tidbits. And then I hear yesterday, last week it was, I didn't hear boos, I heard frustration, delusion. And yesterday it was the wind. Now I thought to myself, maybe it's lost in translation what he meant and whatever. But then Virgil doubles down and says, I don't know whether he said it before Slot or Slot said it before
Yeah, but he's
Virgil.
not playing in the vacuum. It's not Virgil playing in the wind and no one else.
But that's what I'm saying. We all had to deal with the wind. Now, there's a way, and I think maybe Chris probably said yesterday, there's a way that he maybe could have said that without necessarily coming across as though I was blaming the wind. We probably didn't handle conditions as best as possible and all that kind of stuff. For me, it's Virgil makes that mistake, and then he's turning around and he's looking to blame everybody else, and it's just like, it's you that fucked up, like. And I think, without a shadow of a doubt, and again, I'm going to say poor El Kanate, right? Because, look, we criticise them when they're bad, we praise them when they're good. But that applies to all of them, right? Virgil has been at the scene of the crime as many times this year as Kanate has been, I think, in my opinion. I haven't counted them up. But he always turns around and blames everything. He's just too... Look, what's happening now is he's making mistakes for being everything that we used to praise him for being. He's so relaxed, makes it look so easy. I don't know whether it's because he's getting a little bit older, but yesterday was just shocking. You clear the ball, or you shield it out of play, or you do something. What he did yesterday, and by the way, I'm going to pile on him for this as well, because we piled on Gomez for it in the League Cup game against Southampton. A Joe Gomez mistake winds up Leone getting injured, because Leone has to try and chase that ball. Yesterday, Gomez has to try and block that and gets absolutely clattered by Alisson. All stemming from Van Dijk's, I won't say laziness, but lackadaisicalness in trying to clear that ball. It's just absolutely shocking. I know we're probably going to move on to other stuff. The 7 minutes for getting a sub on, holy fucking shit! I'm involved in Sunday and Saturday League football. I don't know whether Gomez came back on. I've refused to go back and watch it. He didn't come back on at all. What you do is you send him fucking back on. Right?
Sit down.
To
And he
fall on the
hobbles
ground.
around, and 2 minutes later, while you're getting Endo fucking ready, he sits down on the ground. And then while he's sitting on the ground, you still have a further 2 minutes. Like, I've tried to put a substitute on in a game before, and I've told him 5 minutes. You tell him 5 minutes, be ready. You turn around, he's still, I haven't got shin guards now. He gets fucking lashed out of it. This is a professional club. Joe Gomez is injured. You get Endo. And by the way, I think Endo, and I think you said yesterday as well, and I agree with you, Kev. I said it in the WhatsApp and Telegram yesterday. I think it was the wrong change to make. The change to make there was to drop Gravenberch into centre half and bring on Jones in midfield. But we aren't privy to the managing loads and sports science, all that kind of stuff. There has to have been a reason why. Well, you would like to think there's a reason why he did it. But I just think poor El Endo's been out injured for the last 2 months. He was running around like it was like his first day on a football team. Like he had concrete boots on. I just think the decision making, and I went in 2-footed with friends yesterday on him taking Kirkes off at half time. He's since explained it in the post match. So basically, it was load management, but because he had already made a change in the first half, it meant he only had 2 changes left in the second half. You're only allowed 3, isn't it? Or
3
2?
breaks in play.
Three blocks. Yeah.
So
The
he
half
had
time
his
doesn't
idea.
count.
Yeah, but he had his idea of the changes that he wanted to make in the second half. So he decided to basically bring Robbo's change forward to half time. I was pissed off about
just on the end.
But I don't
right?
get why Robbo didn't start.
But listen, whether Robbo starts or not, but just on the end of one, which was interesting to me, was right. We've seen so many times this season when Liverpool go behind, and they weren't behind, right? But what I'm saying is, they were because of the injury, but we've seen so many times this season where he just drops Gravenberch back into centre half, right, and puts another midfielder on. So you take Joe Gomez off, you throw another midfielder on, Curtis Jones, right? Yeah. Throw him in and go, Gravenberch, you're staying there. And listen, the 2 lads in front of you have to fucking stay there and keep an eye on this guy. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's not bad in that position, but he's not a centre-back. And that just, that just magnifies the issue at centre-back now. But, like,
but even for those 7 minutes, there needs to be somebody on the pitch that has the wherewithal to say, right, Gomez has gone off. I need to sit in here for a minute.
Yeah.
And there was
like you said, Joe Gomez goes off the pitch and listen, I can't continue. Yeah, but he's not fucking ready. So get back on there, hobble for 40 seconds, get down on the ground, and I'll treat you for as long as needed until that fella's ready, because I'll tell him he can't move you or whatever else, because that's the way the game works nowadays. But I've left a comment on screen there from Brian. He says, we needed 8 players last summer because of our lack of business in previous years. Well, we done an awful lot of business the season before last, didn't we? With Slot made a load of signings before it is last season. But I get what you're saying. We did need them because I think it was more, we were looking, like Brian, off the top of the head, we were looking at Mir saying to ourselves, well, Robertson probably needs, he's coming towards the end, we need a left back, Trent might go, we need a right back. That's 2 straight away. Then you're thinking to yourself, well, Nunez isn't good enough. That's 3. Right, so you're probably, the players. I've no problem with the amount of players we signed, right? And he says we got 5 plus Vertu we didn't absolutely need. That's where I disagree, right?
Yeah.
Because, and it comes back to my point at the very start. If you're signing Florian Wirtz, you're signing for him a very particular reason, right? To be the main man in your team in terms of creativity and moving them forward and plotting against teams, right? And I don't get this thing of we didn't absolutely need. He's an unbelievable footballer, right? And I promise you, if Man City went and signed Florian Wirtz, we'd all be sitting here going, why can't we sign fucking Florian Wirtz? So the whole thing that we didn't need him, it's not about need. It's about progression. It's about if you're changing things. Florian Wirtz is absolutely perfect for what we thought was going to happen in this team, which was going to be flying fullbacks, 2 at the back, in centre halves, 2 lads in front of that making a block of 4, Florian Wirtz in front of that, which are wide, 2 wide men, your striker and your 2 fullbacks, and they are attacking 5, and the 4 at the back cover everything. So I don't necessarily agree with that, Brian. I do to an extent agree with the whole point of stuff from previous years. I think we're trying to do a bit better in that, but we done nothing then, of course. Obviously we done nothing, of course, then in the summer that Arne Slot comes in, but I've left that up because it does bring me to my point from the start, where that's what we are going towards. Like, if we weren't going towards that, you go out and you sign your Adam Morton, or you go out and you sign your fucking Belieber, or you go out and sign who else do we get linked with midfield, right? You go out and sign them players, but we haven't. We signed Florian Wirtz because we wanted to do something different, and I don't think he's done enough to stick by his convictions and go after the game that we want to play with Florian Wirtz in it. We just haven't.
Why didn't we just play the way we played against Marseille?
I I don't know.
But
is
he
the
changed
answer.
again. So I was looking forward to that because it looked like it was going to be Gakpo and Salah rather than Ekitike and Salah like it was during the week. And then from early on, Salah's literally over getting chalk on his boots, and you're immediately cutting out Frimpong getting forward because you're occupying his space. And we said this before Salah even came back from the AFCON. I think Salah is at a stage now where he needs to play within the width of the 18-yard box, and he doesn't leave there. And he actually looked half decent during the week. He looked like he hadn't seen a ball in about 4 or 5 months yesterday. His touch was off. I don't know, this is getting painful.
Right. Well, let's relax there for a minute because you had a big smash burger earlier. You probably knee sweats or something. So relax there for a second. Kev, you wanted to talk about the 7 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the ball was dead twice in that. They had a free kick where substitution could have been made. Alisson had the ball in his hands where he could have launched it up the pitch and out of play, and he didn't. So someone had to tell Alisson to get that ball out to make the change.
But why?
Because
why do we have to tell Alisson? They're all fucking on the pitch knowing that there's a fella missing here.
No point, because they've got multi-ball system. There's no point in telling Alisson to hoof it out of play if the sub isn't ready to be made.
Yeah.
Because they'll just take the throw quickly, and you're just giving them the ball back.
So you just say to all the lads, get down on the ground there.
Yeah, exactly. Anything. You saw it today. I think it was the Villa game. Martinez goes down holding his back.
Alisson should go down. He won't have to go off the pitch then.
just go down for a minute or two. Hold your back. Hold your hamstring. Hold it. Doesn't matter. Hold your fucking left bollock for all I care. Just go down for a few minutes and let Endo come on. Because their second goal comes from, you watch, there's a video going doing the rounds of a pan back camera of shocking. How Bournemouth moved the ball. And they just moved the ball, they just moved players. And the thing is, it's not crazy to have to work out a way of playing with 10 men. Do you know what I mean? You get a red card in the game, you're going to have to do it for a lot longer than 7 minutes. So you don't get pulled around. And Gakpo is running around trying to press the ball. And they're just moving the roll around. But that was the third long ball that came. The first long ball came from Senesi. It was a lovely curling ball, and they just missed out on it. The first goal came from that same ball. Nobody pressed the ball whatsoever. And the second one was just moved around, and they had the guy on the ball, I think it was the other centre back, so much time to pick the pass. No pressure on the ball. And he played an inch perfect pass in, and you're 2-0 down. And yeah, you can bemoan the 7 minutes and all that, but ultimately, it's football basics. You know, don't get pulled out of shape. Bournemouth are a decent footballing side. They're at home. You're already 1 down. Regroup, reset yourself, and just see it out until the change is made. Be disciplined. And there were none of those things. They were still trying to press the ball in their half. And there was absolutely no fucking need.
But the goal, there was you were talking there about a camera angle, and I think is it the fourth goal? It is the fourth goal, isn't it?
No, that's the second goal.
Second one, sorry, where he slips him through, right? And my thing on this is, like, people are saying, look at Gakpo and look at this, but my thing on this, just to go into that piece in particular, was if you're going to press, and if you're not, don't. But two players go up there. Halfway. Two players goes up there and goes, you know what? And then one of them goes and then realizes, fuck, no one's supporting me here. It's played across to their right back or right side of centre back, whatever. And he strolls off with it. But when you watch when the ball's down at their left back, right? Our centre back is out on the right back position, right? And another centre back is about 50 yards across, which there's a big gaping hole in the middle, right? And then when it gets switched across and you run through, everyone's just, I'm not pressing it, but I'm not standing back either, you know. And the reason, and people are pointing out Gakpo, because Gakpo's kind of standing there and saying, would you not go and press the guy on the ball? But he doesn't.
I don't blame Gakpo.
No, I'm not picking out Gakpo, but I'm saying the gaps are too big. If you're not going to press, naturally when you go to press, right? If there's a trigger there and you all go, yes, there's gap behind you, but your whole idea is if it goes into that gap, your men at the back are going to be forced to it. right? If it doesn't go into that gap, you're making the pitch really small for them, and that's where you win it back. But Liverpool are doing neither of that. They went, two of them went, big gap around them, and then when someone came in, they all stood in the line and went, well, I'm not pressing it, but at the same time, I'm not going to be compact, because it's an okay ball your man hits, but it's a big fucking gap he puts it through. Do you know what I mean? And
you'd expect him to make that pass.
Yeah, but what I'd expect someone to be on it or blocking that line. Do you know what I mean? And we just aren't blocking that line. Oz Copway asked the question there a few minutes ago. He said, would you rather Slot says that VVD fucked up, he's had a mare? That's a big call to come out with and say about your captain, even if it's true. Yeah, I would.
No problem chucking Ramsey under the bus.
There's a way of saying it. I think Chris described it yesterday.
All he has to... I'm not saying he comes out and says he fucks up.
Conditions weren't great. We could have maybe dealt with things a bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, the second goal...
Slot's done that plenty of times. Slot's done that plenty of times where he's mentioned players and said he could have done better here. You know, we've talked about this, but listen, Slot shouldn't have to say anything, right? But Virgil van Dijk coming out and claiming, listen, Virgil van Dijk is one of the best defenders this league's ever seen. He's one of the best defenders Liverpool's ever seen, right? And people now, when hindsight going, oh, he's nowhere. Look at him now. Give him a break, right? Yeah, but the thing is, Virgil van Dijk knows, right? Of all of them, this team aren't as solid as they used to be. I can't try BQ. I can't do this. Get the fucking ball and put it out of the Vitality Stadium. End of story. Put it out of the fucking stadium and then worry about where we're going and what we're doing. And he doesn't. He tries to be too cute. And the basics thing is fucking killing me at the minute. Just kick it out.
Well, Kirka's got a lot of stick for the second goal.
Yeah.
And if Virgil takes his line off Kirka's, it's offside. It's because Virgil is too deep, playing your man onside. Makes Virgil's too deep. Your man's played onside by Virgil, and it makes Kirkes look like an idiot. When he's doing the right thing by letting him run offside, there's plenty of fucking room for him to run offside. But your captain is looking along the line, and he can clearly see he's not in line. So, the kid can't do right from doing wrong. And I don't buy this fucking load management shit. If Slots come out with a half-time, he hooked it. Simple as that. I don't buy that shit. At the end of the day, if it was a load management thing, Robertson would have started yesterday. And there's no reason in the world why Robertson wouldn't have started yesterday. None. I mean, you saw
just on Robertson.
So Kev, do you think it's because he thought Kirkes was playing bad?
Yeah. And he didn't want to upset him because at that time of the day, yesterday, he thought Robertson was on his way to Spurs. So I can pull him off. And I'll say it's load management, what have you, but I'm telling you privately, the reason I'm taking you off is because of this, and this that you didn't do right. And I'm going to use Andy Robertson for the next week that I have him, but make no uncertain terms. This is why you're coming off. Publicly, I'll back you. Privately, I'm telling you. So,
but I think Slot has actually said that he wanted him to do 60, but because he had to use the break and play in the first half to replace Gomez, he decided just to do it at half time instead.
Yeah, that doesn't pass the sniff test, to be honest. If it's load management, then you play Robertson. You just do.
I can kind of see the argument that because he's had to make a sub in the first half, he only has 2 breaks in the second half to work with rather than 3. So he has to get one in at half time in order to balance that, I suppose. But at the same time, if you're worried about Kirk's load management, my argument, I'm with you. Just start Robertson. Yeah. And you say, do you know what, Kirkes, how much can you do? 60. We're only going to make you do 30. Yeah. It's going to be great. Now, we're going to start Robertson and play him 60. And like people are saying, and you said there, Kev, you probably thought he was off the Spurs, but it's come out tonight that Andy Robertson is absolutely staying. Now, I'm going to ask you the question, and this is me being a bit devil's advocate on this. Yeah. It's a bit weird, this one, for me. Because from what I read from, when you see Joyce and you see Ornstein, especially in this era of Liverpool with Ornstein, because I can't fucking stand them, but we know where people stand with this Liverpool regime and reporters.
Yeah.
When you see them two coming out saying Spurs have made a bid for Andy Robertson and talks are advancing and the player is keen and all this sort of shit, and all of a sudden it comes out on Sunday night he's staying, right? Mm-hmm. Does anyone think that there's other stuff going on behind the scenes that would make Andy Robertson go, actually, no, I'm all right now. I'll stay where I am?
Well, I think you need to look how bad is Gomez. And when I said it's probably because of Gomez, somebody told me earlier on that apparently Roma want to hold on to Costas. And I know what you're thinking with the other rumours that are coming around.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those three, if not a combination of some of them. Because my opinion on Robbo going, I'd be completely fine with it because I do think he needs to play with the World Cup coming up in the summer. I don't think he owes us absolutely anything. But it'd be interesting how quick of a turnaround, because I think the ongoing talks with Spurs was reported at maybe around about 5 or 6 o'clock, and then it was only about 2 hours later. It looks like he's going to be staying. So is that a scan result, or has there been contact made with Roma, or?
You see, my thing on this is right. Jono says he's staying because Costas apparently wasn't allowed to leave Roma despite him never playing him. Ashley says, does the Joe Gomez injury force the hand? I think if you hadn't gone down the slot and Slot hadn't seen the reality of Endo playing, they would have said, no, we can't afford to let him go. But my thing on this is that I think Andy Robertson is in a strong enough position with the football club. Forget Arne Slot. I think he's in a strong enough position with the football club to turn and go, no, listen, I want to go. Because they're telling me I can play football for them. I'm not being guaranteed it here. Fair play to Milos Kerkez. He's improving all the time. So that's going to reduce my time playing. And I don't really fucking care about Joe Gomez, to be fair. I don't care. That's not my problem. That's your problem. That you have decided not to fix either in the summer or this January. And it was the summer, you know, in my opinion, they get a bit fucking railroaded by Crystal Palace, but not in January. They could have walked in the 1st January and said the Palace there's 25 million. Thanks. Do you know what I mean? But I think that maybe it's the Costas thing, maybe it's the Gomez thing. But if Andy Robertson's want to leave Liverpool is because of the chance to play football, how is his chances going up here? How is his chances going up? I don't see his chances of playing football rising off the back of Joe Gomez.
I, for the life of me, can't understand how the fuck and why the fuck they leaked this in the first place. To what benefit is it to Richard Hughes to leak to Ornstein that Spurs have made an offer and we're in talks and talks are advancing? Because it didn't come from the Spurs side. It would have come from our side. And I could understand if Andy Robertson was, the offer was put to him and he said, yeah, okay, fair enough. Look, I can see Spurs have a need for a left back. I know I can get in there. I know I could do with James Milner at Spurs. What James Milner is doing at Brighton, I could see Andy Robertson doing at Spurs. He's a leader, great character around the dressing room, exactly what Thomas Frank would want. Johnny Heitinga is there. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if Johnny Heitinga was leading that from the Spurs side. Say, look, you've got to get this guy in. He's a character. He can galvanise a squad. He can get us to where we need to be. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Andy Robertson wanted to go. The Joe Gomez injury probably scared the shit out of him, because the reality is if Andy Robertson goes, Kostas Tsimikas comes back, you still don't have a non-homegrown place in your squad.
Kev,
you just don't.
No, I completely get what you're coming from. But Kev, listen, right? How in the name of fuck do you, not you personally, right? But how does a football club justify, right, having Andy Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas, right? And deciding that, right, Kostas Tsimikas, no one will buy him, so we'll send him on loan to Roma, right? They aren't selling him on loan to Roma going, he might find form and become our number one left back. They're simply not, right? So they bring in Milos Kerkez, who at the time everybody wanted. And I think he will become good. I think he's starting to become good.
I think he's good.
Now, how can you justify as a football club saying, do you know what we're going to do? This is the plan, lads. We're going to sell Andy Robertson, right? And what we're going to do is we have Milos Kerkez, who's improving, and Andy Robertson, who's on the wane, but still at a certain level of fullback. And we're going to let him go. We're going to lose that character in the team. We're going to lose that influence around the dressing room or in the group. We're going to let him go. And we're going to bring back the guy that we tried to sell in the summer but could only loan because no one would pay the fee. Kev, that's bonkers.
It's nuts, and it's symptomatic of how Richard Hughes is running the club. Because at the end of the day, the summer window closed. We lost out on Mark Guehi. The summer before, we lost out in Zubamendi, right? And we all put it down to, look, he's new into the job. He trusted well. We talked about it today. We knew at the end of the summer we needed a centre back. Leone gets injured against Southampton, out for the season. You knew from then until the window opened, you needed to go and get a centre back. If you're not going to get Mark Guehi, you have to get someone else because you needed one. Now you fucking have to have one. And he's done fuck all. He's done the sweet sum of fuck all in 3 months to rebuild this squad.
Sorry, Kev. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's all right.
But I'm laughing my head off here because M. Kilban. Sorry, you're completely reading that wrong. He says, "This is fucking brilliant." He doesn't think we can read, so he's put this message in 2 or 3 times, but says, exclusive, Arne Slot has been told by Liverpool owners the time is up. He's put his house up for sale, right, at 11:15 at night. Fair play to him. I didn't know Sherry Fitzgerald walked in this hour. He's put his house for sale and his agent is already approaching new clubs, sacking imminent, right, which is fair enough. But then the next one made me laugh a lot, right? This is from a reliable London outlet, 60,000 followers, including Jack Talbot. I don't know who Jack Talbot is, but he must be deadly.
It must be the bollocks,
but anyway, Kev, sorry. Davey T says, good evening, Copoids. Shite this football malarkey, isn't it? Yeah, it is a little bit. And Jono says he's selling a house he doesn't own. Well, fair play to him. If he gets away with it, fair fucks to him. But listen,
I've just checked that because I saw that Slot does own a house in Cheshire.
No, he doesn't. No. Rented it.
He was supposed to move into Jurgen's house. It says it here.
No,
the Liverpool manager has purchased a new home in Hales Barns in Cheshire.
He didn't. Shut up.
I've got your back, M. Kilban.
Yeah, Emmet's all over you. M. Kilban probably runs a burger van. That's why you have his back.
And the last time I was in Liverpool, I saw a 24-hour auctioneers open.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was it down there, the nice toilets on Lime Street?
Everton Road.
Okay. Anyway, you're a lion cunt. Right. But anyway, sorry, Kev, just one last thing.
Go on,
just on Davey. Davey says shy football, isn't it? Yes, it is, Davey, at the moment. It is. But honestly, there's bigger things in life, right? Much bigger things in life. If anything, over the last couple of weeks has shown me, right, different things that have come across me, and what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've been told, and circumstances of other people. Yeah, football means absolutely fuck all. We're just meant to be here and enjoying it because there's way more important things in the world. And honestly,
you know what I know, but isn't that the thing? We could, even when we were struggling at the start on the clock, we could see the direction of travel. We were enjoying it. I don't know anyone who's enjoying the last 3, 4, 5 months. The entirety of the season, and I understand the context of everything that happened in the summer, and I understand the injuries to Isak and the Bradley stuff and the Leone stuff and everything like that. But at the end of the day, you've got a structure in place at the club. You've got Richard Hughes there, and Edwards isn't really involved in the day-to-day. But Richard Hughes is there. His sole purpose in life, extending contracts, selling players, bringing players in. That's the be-all and end-all of his existence at Liverpool Football Club. He's done nothing. He's got 3 players in the squad that Arne Slot will not use. Come hell or high water, he will not start Endo. He will not start Chiesa. He will not start Real. And he will not start your man fucking Ramsey. Young fella. Played for the under-21s today, by the way. And so did Real. So you've got 3 players there taking up non-homegrown spots. That in 3 months, he couldn't find a way to shift them out of the club and bring in players that the manager will use to help the squad because it fucking desperately needed it. Couple that with the injuries, the long-term injury. We're not going to see Isak for the rest of the season. We're just not. Leone, hopefully, 35 million quid for him. He wasn't bought as a 4th choice centre-back. He was bought as a 3rd choice centre-back. So the idea that you can get to the 25th of January and not have addressed that It's fucking negligence. It's
Right.
criminal.
So Kev, you've brought us on lovely, right? Because I know you want to have a row with me, right? And I'm ready for you, right? Now I have run out of tea.
Bring it on,
I
sunshine.
have run out of tea, right? And I've run out of Maltesers truffles, which are surprisingly better than you think, right?
Yeah.
But my thing on this is, Kev, and fucking load your guns up here, right? My thing on this is that I'm not disagreeing with you for in certain parts of it, but I genuinely believe that they are looking at this and going, lads, we can't sign players until we decide what we're doing with him, because I think he has an absolute say in the players that come into Liverpool. I'm not saying the volume of them, but I'm saying the personnel. I think he has a big say in it, and I think if we were flying right now, and we said, you know what, we could do with a fucking centre back, and they're looking going, Slot's the fucking business here. He's flying. He's brought in these players. Everyone's integrated. We're fucking great. We're top of the league. But let's go and get that centre half, or let's go and get that winger. I honestly think Antoine Semenyo and Mark Guehi would be Liverpool players today, right? I genuinely do, because Slot would have went, I need him, and they go, right, yeah, we agree. Boom, out and get it. I think because we're struggling, they're afraid to go, lads, we cannot fucking, and it's their own fault, by the way. Right, they should have turned around the 1st January and went, no, do you know what, we need to strengthen, but we need to strengthen from who's going to be managing them in 6 months' time, absolutely managing them. And if they have doubts over Slot, they've doubled down by not backing him. I think he has an absolute say on the players that come in here, and because he's performing so poorly, I don't think they're backing him, because they're afraid to bring in 2 players or 3, let's not say 3, that's scandalous fucking talk, 2 players, right? They bring in 2 players, and all of a sudden they come in and it still doesn't work, and someone walks in the door and says, I don't like him and him. And Liverpool, and now we had this remit last week, and Emmet said, you sell them, but players aren't going to sign. Players aren't going to turn around and go, yeah, what's going on with Slot? We haven't a fucking clue, but he wants you. But is he going to be here in 6 months? Don't know. Well, then I'm not fucking signing, because now I'm putting my own life and my own career in limbo here. And I know it's Liverpool, I know all that, but it's still not solid. And I know you disagree, Kev, but I just look at it and I just think they are sitting there and they're keeping their powder dry, and they should have made a decision on Slot before now. And if the decision is they're keeping him, which a lot of people go, what the fuck, back him. And they haven't backed him because they don't want to sign players for him.
I don't think you're signing players for a head coach. Full stop. I think no matter what happens, whoever comes in next is going to play a similar style, a similar brand of football to what Arne Slot, Jurgen Klopp. That style of play is going to be similar. They're not going to be signing Tony Pulis level or a defensive 5 at the back, counter-attacking coach. They're not going to rip up the paper and just say, look, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater and we're going to redo the whole thing. They're not. Whoever they bring in to replace him is going to be similar. It's going to be a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 type of manager. That's what the majority of football managers are anyway. I also don't think players sign for a manager. They sign for a club. This day and age, it's not like managers have longevity. I think Eddie Howe is the longest serving manager, along with Pep Guardiola in the Premier League at the moment, and Arteta. Outside of that, the majority of them are 2-3 years, and it changes. It wouldn't prevent a player signing for Real Madrid in the summer, wondering who's going to be the manager in 6 months, because they haven't a fucking clue themselves. So I don't believe that Arne Slot has a say, as a deciding say in who comes in. I think he has an input, but I think Richard Hughes is the one who brings players in, and he'll go to the manager and say, look, this is the style of player we think you need. Do you agree? No. And yes or no, obviously. They'll have conversations, but ultimately it'll be like, here's a list of 3 players we like for this position. What do you think? Which one do you like the look of? I'll go and try and sign X, Y, and Z. But it's as clear as day. There is no backup left back. There's no backup or left winger. There's no backup right winger. There's no backup in the 6. There's no... It's centre back light, and we have 1 right back that he'll use. So the idea that you look at the bench yesterday, you had 4 senior players outside of 2. We've normalised naming 2 goalkeepers on the bench. So the idea that Arne Slot would suddenly turn around and say, yeah, Richard, I need that player and this player, but you're not getting it from me. Why? he'd be leaking it to the Dutch press saying, "Look, I'm not being back there." You know, if the writing is on the wall for him, it would be coming out through the Dutch media, through Arne Slot's agent, saying, "Yeah, he knows that the writing's on the wall for him. The club aren't backing him. It's a matter of time." It's
Okay.
not. There's no
So
noise coming out.
let's say right, what I'm saying and what you're saying, there's something in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say let's take that, and I'll put it to you, Emma. Right, and we come back to Kevin in a second. Let's say Slot does have an influence, right, but not so much the commanding influence. Okay, and let's say that Richard Hughes has the commanding influence, but he wants Slot. So we know we're kind of halfway house between me and Kev's opinions here. In what world do Liverpool get to the 25th of January now, and we're looking and we're saying to ourselves, he's not playing Ngamoa unless he's trying to win a game, which is fucking ironic. He's not playing Endo unless literally no centre backs left. He won't play Chiesa. Okay, he's using Ekitike sparingly, which I'm not against because he's literally his only central striker, so he has to protect him. Right? He's bringing Salah back into a team that he left out of to be more solid. And when Salah kicked up and fucked off the AFCON and came back, he was straight back in. In what world do these people look at this squad and go, "We're absolutely fine here"? Because that's what it looks like. And I've seen Slot saying we don't expect to be any movement, but unless an opportunity comes up. And we've heard that so many fucking times. But in what world, Emma, do we look at it? And this is going... It reminds me a little bit of the time we signed Kabak and the other fella, Ben Davis. But genuinely, if you're putting that amount of money in the summer, and yeah, you've been unfortunate in certain circumstances, is this a standoff between the director of football and manager where he goes, "We made these decisions in the summer, you were part of those decisions, and now you're going back on your work because you won't play A, B and C"? Or what is it? Because you can't look at that squad and say to yourself, that should be fine. Yeah, they just up it a little bit. They should get Champions League and that'll be grand, because I think that's pie in the sky stuff at this stage.
I think he said he was fine with what he had. Right? Mm-hmm. We've lost a couple of players here and there, but as you said, he won't play Chiesa. He won't play Endo. He won't play Ngamoa. And he's probably going looking for players, and they're saying, "Now you said you're happy enough with what you have," and I think it's like each side is possibly being stubborn. He's asking, they're saying no, and he's saying fine. Well, I'm not playing these players. Yeah. And there was actually rumours that the decision not to replace Luis Diaz and go with Rio as the backup to Gakpo was more of a FSG Hughes decision than a Slot decision. And that just...
But that's quite easy to make up that rumour in the fact that the game time he's given him.
Yeah, but Chiesa, Endo, like even
but
when
Chiesa isn't a new thing. Chiesa is just a thing. It's just a thing since he arrived. It's not a new thing this season.
So why didn't he go last season?
I don't know.
In the summer. But that's what I mean. So the fact that he stays, you would imagine that Slot either said he was happy with him, or they just said you need to do with what you have. And he's not playing him because he was told you have to play. Do you know what I mean? He's basically not using all of the tools at his disposal because he doesn't like the tools. That's fine. I'll build your house, but I don't like this hammer, so I'm going to use this other hammer that I have over here constantly until it breaks. And that's, to me, that's what it is. It's stubbornness on both sides. And to me, and I know we said again at the risk of going over old ground, to me, I think it's negligent on the club's behalf that it's quite obvious that we need players in. We need, and even if it was a case that they go and do a Davies Kabak kind of a deal, right? Which ended up, when we look at it, kind of getting us the top four that season anyway. I know Kabak was absolutely awful. Well, they were both awful, and Davies never played. In fact, it was actually probably fucking Phillips and Reece Williams that got us the top four that season. And maybe they feel a little bit burnt from when they did that because it didn't work. But you need to do something to secure top four. And if you look at the games that we have coming up...
But Emma, let me put it in very simple terms. Liverpool tried to sign Mark Guehi on all last summer and thought he had the deal done on the last day of the transfer window, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing in this Liverpool makeup that has changed between August 34th / September the 4th, because I can't remember what day it closed, to the 25th of January. Nothing has changed in a way that you would say, do you know what, thank God we didn't do that Guehi deal, because this is actually all right. Nothing. So how do you shift massively from Mark Guehi? And right, I'll take I think we should have done Mark Guehi anyway, but I'll take the point that he was offered mad money. He was offered mad money. But what I'm saying is, how do you go from we are so Mark Guehi's in our offices in London, waiting to be released by Crystal Palace because we feel that's the centre back we want, right? How do you go from that to Leone being injured, Gomez being injured, Canate, okay, his father passed away, but he'll be back. But what I'm saying, how do you go from there to that right now, or even a couple of weeks ago, where nothing has changed in your makeup? The only thing that's changed is Leone's got injured for the season, possibly. Right, I heard he's back in training, but a long-term injury. How do you go from that to standing in January 1st going, nah, it's all right? How do you do it?
I think it's because of what you're saying. They're not backing the manager, which I think is negligent. And I was just about to say that you need to bring something in to secure top four. If they're now cutting off their nose to spite their face because there's some kind of a standoff with the manager, or they're not willing to back the manager, you are at risk of not making that top four, top five for being so stubborn. And that's going to put you outside. You're outside of Champions League football. You lose an awful lot. I think it's about $1 million a game. Is it in the Champions League if you win?
I couldn't tell you.
And then you've got TV rights, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're losing all of that just to be a little bit hard-nosed with the manager that you decide that you're not going to back. And Matt said something yesterday, which I thought I was fucking crazy thinking it. If you have decided that he gets to the summer and you're not renewing, right? But we're going to keep him there till the summer, and you know who it is that you're getting to come in, or you have an idea of who it is, you're having conversations with that person. So to nullify what you're saying, Gav, about how do we know that if they sign these players that the new manager's going to want them, go and fucking ask him. If you know that there's going to be a deal in place for Xabi Alonso to come in the summer and say, listen, we're giving this fella till the summer, but we want to bring in a couple of extra players to try and see if we can get into the top four, give us Champions League football for you when you come in. Who would you have? Give us an idea of what type of, give us a few names, and we'll go and see if we can go and get them. And then you go and get them and you let them blood into the team, knowing that those players were bought for the new manager, not for the current manager. But for me, it's the height of negligence to just decide to down fucking tools, not back a manager, and risk your club being outside of the Champions League spots for next year. That's a massive amount of money. We know ourselves from winning it, from going really deep in it. We've been in 3 finals in the last whatever amount of years. So the money that brings in, the revenue it drives is massive. You're staring down the barrel of being hard fucking nosed against a manager that you're not willing to back, and you're just willing to fuck all of that away just to prove a point that we're not backing you.
Like Kev, just on the centre back thing, right? And we loads have said about Richard Hughes, and you know how structured the club is with Richard Hughes and the other lad coming back. What's his name?
Edwards.
Michael
right? Edwards.
Yeah. I'm gone so bad with names. But with them come back, it was so structured, and he has his little black book, and he knows everything, and he fucking does this, and it's so organised, and the plan is there, and the this, that, and the other. Kev, the plan was a centre back, and the centre back situation for Liverpool has worsened between August and the 4th of January, and it's certainly worsened since the 4th of January and the 25th of January, and we're sitting here going, he's just not going to sign a centre back. That's no plan, Kev. That's no plan.
It's not. That's my whole point. He's been sat there since the day Leone got injured at Southampton, when he was told he's gone for the season. You have 3 fit centre-backs at the club. You needed one. You were going to go and get him. It was a done deal. So when the January window opens up, you need to have a centre-back lined up to come in. If it's not going to be Mark Guehi, because apparently it's been leaked that by November we'd walked away from it, same as the Semenyo one. We'd come away from it. that gives you still 2 months to go out and assess the options that you have to bring in a centre-back. The problem that the club have is you've 17 non-homegrown spots that are all full. So either you're going to have to deregister someone, which would have been Ramsey, to bring someone in, or you're going to try to find an English centre-back to bring in. They could have gone for your man at Toulouse, Cresswell. He was England's under-21 captain when they won the last Euros. And by all accounts, he had a good season in France. West Ham were looking at him for 22 million. You could bring him in as a fourth-choice centre-back and it fixes a lot of your little problems. It fixes your homegrown problem. It fixes your need for a centre-back. And he's a good centre-back. He's not Van Dijk Canate level. He's not going to be an elite centre-back. But if that's what you can get to get you over the next 18 months, and then you flip him in 2 years. You do what other normal clubs do, is you fix a problem to get you over the line for a year and a half, and then you sell him. And you recoup the money that you've invested. And if you're really clever, you recoup the wages as well. So I, for the life of me, don't understand why he's sitting his hands. And it doesn't matter who the fucking manager is. Because whoever the manager that's coming in, he's going to need 4 centre-backs in his squad. And we know that players move from window to window. So it makes absolutely no sense. None whatsoever. And the longer this goes on, the longer this nonsense goes on with Arne Slot, I mean, we know that he's a dead man walking. It's a case of when, not if. By all accounts now, he's 5-2 on to be the next manager sacked. So either someone's been lumping up money on with the news that broke tonight, or we're going to get some news over the next day or two. But again, that's only sticking plasters, because the makeup of the squad is all kinds of wrong. For whoever comes in, if you bring in a guy who plays 2 up top, we're going to have 1 fit striker. You bring in a guy who plays 4-3-3, you've got 2 wingers woefully out of form. We saw yesterday why Mo Salah was dropped. Mo Salah was dropped on form, rightly so. And we saw yesterday why he was dropped. He was woefully out of form. He was beaten for pace by Adam Smith in a straight 2-horse race. The one thing that he always had was the afterburners, and that's gone. He was never a fantastic dribbler of a ball to beat someone. He was great at manoeuvring the ball to make space for himself, but he was never going past people. So once you lose that, Emma's right, you have to play within the width of the 18-yard box. I thought yesterday we were going to see 4-2-2 with 2 split strikers. And you're right, Salah was out wide right, and Gakpo was out wide left. Sure, Gakpo, even if he was making his little trick to cut inside, who the fuck was he crossing it into? Florian Wirtz? All 5'2" of him? What was the point? Arne Slot deserves to be sacked, don't get me wrong. But he is by far and away not the biggest problem at that club. The recruitment is the biggest problem at that club. It has no structure.
Can I ask a question?
But you see, I think Arne Slot's in his current guise he's at the scene of a lot of crimes with regards to what's going on with recruitment, because I think people are writing off Arne Slot's if Arne Slot wasn't there, if it was another manager, Richard Hughes would be doing the same. I don't think he would. No. I just don't think he would. Go on, Emma. What are you going to
I was going to say, is there anything so we're all saying that they're not willing to back Slot, but is there anything to be said that maybe FSG aren't backing Hughes?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, right?
Do deals.
Ashley asked me a question last night. I just come on the pod late last night and on Patreon, and Ashley asked me a question, and it made me think. If you were looking at this as a business point of view, and you were looking at what's going on at Liverpool now, screaming out for investment, but no investment's coming. You've all worked for these companies. You know what's coming. You're being sold. I can think of no other reason why FSG is not investing in this squad right now. From a business point of view, if they've got a buyer lined up to buy this club, yes, you'd want it in the Champions League. But you also know in your heart of hearts, this club needs £100, £150 million spending in this window.
Yeah, but the
In all
100
in all
but
fairness,
Kev, you have to
it
remember.
just does.
Yeah, but Kev, the 150 million, right? Liverpool went out and spent 450 million last
So what?
summer, right? And I don't know whether that was net or wherever. What did he call it?
No,
No,
they
Net
brought,
that
spend,
was sales.
right?
they brought in nearly 300 grand.
Exactly.
300 million.
But they spent fuck all the summer before. When you put it in
No, I
parity,
know,
it's about the same as everyone else.
I get you, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that Liverpool won't have a problem with dropping 150 million on players because of the financial
No, they
situation
don't.
they're in. The only way you end up in a problem with dropping 150 million is the competition you should be in, you're not, right? Because you lose a shed load of money not being in the Champions League, not just through match day revenue, not through prize money, your sponsorships, your all this sort of stuff. They're all scheduled on where you are and what TV cameras you're in front of, right? But it goes back to the reason they're not signing these players is the manager is not being backed. End of story. He's not being backed. And the reason he's not being backed is because he's not performing. And I blame the club on that. Because if the club feel he's not performing and they don't want to back him, just get rid of him.
Get rid of him.
Because if you want to back this manager, right, and you think he can get out of this, you fucking back him and you do it. But by sitting here and not doing anything with the manager and not doing anything with the squad, forget it. You're done.
I'll tell
Because
you, the closest you came a couple of weeks ago to Arne Slot having a pop was he was in a press conference and he turned around and he said, all throughout my career, I've played attacking football with wingers. You know, he's always used wingers, always played wingers, always played 4-3-3, attacking style of play, fine art, and that's what he wanted to do. That's his philosophy. That's the way he wants to play. You talk about the signings that he's made in the summer. They don't scream 4-3-3. They don't scream how he wants to play football. Nobody foresaw the fall off of Mo Salah. Gakpo last season had a good season. You know, his goal return was absolutely fine. But you go into this season, Salah's form has hit the floor. Gakpo has followed him, holding his hand, screaming off the cliff top, you know, with his form. So the idea that he's had to adjust to what he has and play to what the squad is capable of playing to try to get results. I understand him trying different things. But at the same time, he's telling you that he's not being given the tools to do the job the way he wants to do it. I don't think he's a bad manager. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he's a good coach. He's a really good coach. But at the minute, it's like he's hit a wall and he doesn't know how to get over it. The wall is filled with grease and he can't climb it. And sometimes you just got to cut your nose off and just say, look, enough.
yeah, because Kev,
And make a decision. You have
Kev,
to.
the reason for me he's hit a wall is because he hasn't stuck by his convictions. And he spoke at the start of the season about how Liverpool might need to change a little bit. There's going to be a change to the way we might play, and because of personnel and whatever else. And we go back to Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz doesn't sign for a team that plays 4-3-3 because he's not a number 8. He doesn't play in this fucking, conventional kind of, what's the word we use for our midfield? Functional midfield. He just doesn't. What you do with Florian Wirtz is you get people wide of him and you get security behind him and you let him go and play.
Yeah. It's a different version of a 4-3-3 with two sitters. So
it's two. It's two sitters, and you end up with you nearly end up with your wide men, right, being more nearly hard working and working inside, right?
Yeah.
And your full backs go. And the idea when Liverpool have the ball is that and I keep saying it, 2 centre backs, 2 centre midfielders, and your 2 full backs up high, your 2 wide men in narrow with the striker, and Florian Wirtz floating around and making things happen. But what he's done is he's gone from starting like that, right? He's gone from that to 4-3-3 to Florian Wirtz on the left, to Florian Wirtz on the fucking right, to no winger out on the right because he's playing a midfielder there to short things up. He's constantly gone around, so he's never given himself a chance of a good run at something here because he hasn't followed his convictions. What he's done is he's looked and went, well, we won the first 4 or 5 games. We weren't great, right? But we feel we can get better. And as soon as it turned on him, right? As soon as it turned, he was away at Palace and he was playing people all over the fucking place. And then the following week he goes to Chelsea and he changes the formation again. And then since that, he's changed it back. It's constant change. Now,
changed since Wednesday.
But the thing is, if I seen Liverpool playing 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 and the personnel and the approach. Every time we play 4-2-3 is the same, and 4-2-3-1 is the same. I go, yeah, we have to be we have to be able to, adapt to certain games or certain situations in game or certain opposition. That's fine. But when you watch Liverpool playing 4-3-3 or you watch them playing 4-2-3-1, there's no way you can come around and go, well, that was the exact same as that, right? That was the exact same as that. Now we're doing 4-2-2-2s, right? To try and make it narrow down the pitch to get our fullbacks going. But you can do that in a 4-2-3-1, but he won't, because he's fucking terrified of losing the football. So you talk about getting over a wall, Kev. To get over a wall, you need a good runner, don't you? You need a good runner a wall and a constant run to get over a fucking wall. But when you're scrambling around changing everything about yourself every fucking week and going as further and further away from what you were kind of saying at the start of the season, you're in a world of fucking trouble. You're just in a world of trouble. And I don't dislike the guy. He won a league title with Liverpool. I actually fucking love him, right? And I always will for doing that. And I go back to the very start of the show, I would write off this season if I seen him, right, hammering at that wall with a 4-2-3-1 and breaking it down bit by bit by bit. And when you turn March, April and you go, fuck, now what's happening? See, we knew it was coming, now it's going. And now we can pick and choose his little bits at the end of the season to add to that for going into next season. Yeah, we probably finished third or fourth. Fuck it. We're going to be better in the long run. I'd be absolutely fine with writing it off. But now I'm watching him, Kev, and it's like he's throwing fucking pebbles at a fucking wall hoping to knock it over. And it's just...
We're back to
it's
where...
It's untenable at this stage.
It is 100%.
We're back to where the game where we lost against Palace in the last minute. We've literally just come full circle in 13 games. Nothing has improved.
Yeah,
and that was the start. That was the start of the bad run. And I was about to say earlier on, you look at the run we're about to go on. We were in the top four at the start of the weekend. We're now in sixth. Am I right in saying that? After United won today. The next few games, I think, are Newcastle at Anfield, City away, is it?
I have. Do you know what? I just wake up every morning now and check and see.
So I said it a couple of weeks ago that picking up a point here and there and whatever, it's not good enough. And that blink, and with the way this league is now, you're literally 2 bad results away from being down in 8th or 9th. Well, and that's what we're staring down the barrel of.
Our next game is Newcastle at home, City at home, Sunderland away, Brighton in the cup. Then you got Forest, West Ham, Wolves.
Well, there you go. But look, it's I don't know. I know in the fucking YouTube comments we'll have it afterwards, and people going, "Gav, you're fucking." This. Honestly, it's just when you're watching these games. The only question I ask people when you're watching these games, are you seeing what he's trying to do? That's the only question I'll ask you, because I can't see it, and unless I'm fucking Stevie Wonder, you know what I mean? I just can't see it.
There was a comment saying that I was gaslighting people by saying that we looked better. Not in here, not tonight. On 2 weeks ago or something, somebody said, remember we had Emmet gaslighting us, saying that we were looking better. Better in relation to when we were losing games. We looked better. We looked a little bit more solid. That's what I said. We looked better, but still not good enough. But unfortunately, when people listen to the shows, they have selective hearing and they just hear that first bit and then they latch onto it and they're straight into the comment section.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest, first 20 minutes, half hour yesterday, we were tidy. We were all right on the ball. Going forward, we looked like we were playing decent stuff. Link-up play was good. I didn't mind it. But the first sign of adversity, Virgil makes a horrific fucking mistake and it goes to pot. It absolutely goes to shit. In a 10-minute spell, Bournemouth are 2 up without having to fucking do anything really. It was a good, decent, long ball over the top that you should have cleared. And from that, you completely fall apart. Your mentality is so bad. And it's like when everything's going for you, like it was in Marseille, everything went for us in Marseille. We defended well. We won the 1v1s, pretty much dominated in midfield, and we looked really tidy. And it looked like we had a plan going forward. But against Bournemouth, this first sign of adversity, it all went to pot.
I was actually looking forward to the game yesterday because I felt that
Right.
like we've heard so much from Slot over the last few weeks about low block, low block, low block, and I thought Bournemouth aren't a low block team. They're not gonna. They'll come out and they'll actually play us. And I thought that we would play similar to
Yeah,
the
but
way
we're
we played.
swanning around the gaff here, listening to a fella going on about low block as if it's okay.
Well, that's the thing is, it's only been called low block for the last 4 or 5 years. It used to be called park the bus or 5 at the back or whatever it used to be called. It's been in football for donkey's years.
Yeah.
And to me, even talking about low block, but the excitement I had for yesterday is I thought we looked pretty good against Marseille. I thought Bournemouth are the type of team that would come out and play football against us, which they did until they got a 2-0 lead and they have something to hold on to. Then they decided, right, we're going to sit back here for a while. And then they went in. So we actually gave them the opportunity. They didn't come to play in a low block. We gave them the opportunity to play in a low block once they got a couple of goals. And we then find it even harder to break them down.
Owenborg says, gaslighting is the reason you only came second in Talaman of the Year. 2019. So there you go. Look, we'll leave it there because I think we've said enough on everything, and I'm sure there's going to be more stuff will come out tomorrow with regards to or more rumours anyway will come out tomorrow with regards to Arne Slot and probably players, etc., etc. But it's look, it can get better. It can get better. I hope it gets better. But for me, at the moment, I'm literally going into games going, I just don't know what I'm going to see here. And sometimes that's good. You kind of go off so to see this, what will happen. But it's just, like someone said in the chat there, when it just gets to the point where everyone just running around casually hoping that everything will be okay. It's just, yeah. It's worrying on in that sense. Anyway, Emma, anything else before we go?
No. Nothing at all.
No
See you here next week.
No.
See you here next week.
We've got a Karabag fan in the chat. Well, look at it.
Yeah.
We've got a Karabag fan in the chat. Fair play.
Yeah.
It should be a bit of crack Wednesday night anyway.
Well, it won't be, Kev. It won't be any crack. It won't be any crack at all.
Come here. We're completely different. I think we're leading the stats on set piece goals in all of the goals from corners in the Champions League, as far as I know.
Yeah, we haven't conceded one in the Champions League.
Cheers, Brian. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for that. The hair is back. Good man.
Yeah. The hair is back. There you go. What he has of it, to be fair. It's receding, but it's still there.
My fullbacks are in advance.
He's gone. He's off the Karabag. He's off the fucking Karabag next week. What do you see when he comes back? He's going to look like fucking Antonio Conte when he comes back.
I would never do something like that.
Would you
that's
not?
No. That's nothing against anybody that doesn't fucking. But look, I've been on here for long enough that people see me with different.
Glenn Boylan is going over on Wednesday night, so sorry, Glenn. I hope it is serious crack. I think I seen you in the chat. I think your daughter were going, or your son. So I hope it is good crack. I'm only messing. Go on, what?
I think it'll be good. I think we finished top 8.
I think I'll just start watching the Traitors Wednesday. Fuck.
There's so many.
I've never watched it. Never watched it.
I'm only messing. I'll be watching the Reds.
Never watched it.
Fuck off the Traitors. A lot of bollocks. Right. Kev, anything else before we go?
No, Patriots made the Super Bowl. So
the Patriots have gone to the Super Bowl.
Patriots have gone to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Jesus. Aren't they the most hated team in America?
Yeah.
Good. I need to know this stuff. I'll tell you why in a minute.
They're kind of like the one side. They're kind of like the Manchester United of the Super Bowl. They're the richest club, and they just dominated everything. And everyone got sick of them winning, and they just kept finding ways to win. And yeah, that's why everyone hates them.
Yeah, they're not a million miles away from Ashley. Would Ashley be a Patriots?
No. I don't know. I don't know. She says
they play at Fox, but it's not far away.
Ashley's saying shh in the chat,
okay.
So I don't know whether that's. She says, "Don't say that, Kev." So I don't know what you said there, Kev. Ashley's not impressed. So yeah, I don't know. You probably. you probably get the head eaten off, after this show. I'm quite rightly so. I don't know whether you're being nice to someone actually likes, or you're being bad. I don't fucking know. But anyway, the Patriots are. It's the next.
I think it's the United comparison.
It's the other semi-final on tonight as well.
Yeah. It's I know the Seahawks are in it.
Definitely not a semi-final, isn't it? It's going to be called a divisional final or something, isn't it?
Yes, divisional. It's the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
I think it's LA Rams and Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. She must be a Patriots fan because she said, don't compare them to United for fuck's sake. Chris Brack says, LFC women 2-0 today. Denise O'Sullivan from the Ireland was class. 2 nice goals from Mia Enderby. I think they were playing Spurs today, would he?
Yeah, Spurs at home. Yeah.
Yep, there you
go. I think Spurs are 4th or 5th. But yeah, Denise O'Sullivan, proper signing for the women, to be fair. 300 grand they paid for her.
She's an animal.
It's the highest fee, I think, paid for an Irish woman.
Dylan's just being vomited on by an 11-day-old, and he's blaming Slot.
Bang a milk off it.
Wait till he shite on you.
Whoa.
It's unbelievable. Wow. Anyway,
horrible memories.
That's been it for the Sunday Night Cop. Thanks being to Kev. Thanks being to Emma. If you're around this week, we will have build up the Carabag. We will have reaction, possibly by 2, the Carabag. Some on YouTube, some on our Patreon show, and we'll try to get a random show in. And like I said, working our way through the games and doing loads on YouTube and on Patreon. So like, subscribe, and comment here. If you haven't checked out Patreon, I give it a go. It's the price of a coffee a month, and you know what? We're having a lovely time over there. We're doing plenty of shows. The random shows are fantastic, and Matt is a massive fan of the Good Process show, where we just fucking have a good look at the referees every single week as well. Myself and Matt are bringing a new podcast. Starting this Thursday. It's nothing to do with this podcast, by the way. It's not. You won't see it anywhere. On air content. It's a new one. It's on YouTube. It's called I Know Sports, He's a Clown. That's exactly what the name of it's called. So if you type in I Know Sports, He's a Clown into YouTube, you will see it. We're currently putting everything together. It's a sports show, but it's basically, Matt has the opinion of me that if this sport didn't originate within like 100 miles of me, I've no interest in it. Not that I've no interest, I just struggle to have an interest. Whereas he's, loves sports from all over the world. So that's going to be the thing. He's going to be talking about all these sports. I'm going to be sitting there going, what? And I'm going to try to get educated. And then I'm going to bring some mad stories from sport and some deadly bits of skill from sport and some top 10 stuff. And it's going to be a nice time. So that's going to be Thursday. About 11 p.m. on Thursday night, I think it is. That we're going to do that. So go and check that out as well. I've been Gav. That's been Emma. That's been Kev. That has been the Talkin Kop for a Sunday night. Talk to you in a bit. Over now.